In my most recent video, I installed Debian Buster without a login manager or desktop environment at all. Then went through the steps to get a tiling window manager on the system, log in through the TTY, and start X. I installed a fairly esoteric window manager called spectrwm, and I've been messing around with spectrwm for a few months in my spare time, and I found it to be pretty cool, and I resolved to make a video about it once I got the time. But first, I want to give you some background information on spectrwm. It's a dynamic tiling window manager, much like DWM or Xmonad, and it's written in C, and it has a plain text configuration file. It's pretty easy to set up once you know the key bindings and everything, and they have pretty sane defaults. Let's just jump into it. I'll show you around the system. So on here, this is the default spectrwm. All I've done is actually bring in a couple of scripts from my GitHub page and set a wallpaper and made the terminal so you can read it. And other than that, I haven't changed any key bindings. I haven't changed really anything. So to launch a terminal in DWM, the mod key is actually the Alt key. So you want to do Alt, Shift, and Enter to give you a terminal. But your default terminal is going to be Xterm, and that's really hard to read. So let's close this and do Mod, which is Alt, and X to close that. Let's launch URXVT. I've actually brought in my config from GitHub into URXVT and edited the font size so it'd be a little easier to read. So let's launch that through dmenu, and the way to launch dmenu is mod P. So we're going to do URXVT. We'll hit enter here, and that's a little easier to read. If you want to take a look at the system, we're running Debian Buster, 64-bit. Let's talk about the configuration file now. The configuration file is supposed to be in the home directory at .spectrwm.conf. So if we do a long listing or ls-a, you'll see that we don't have one. So we got to find the default config on the system somewhere. So the best way to do that I have found is to install a program called locate. So you're going to do sudo apt install locate. I've already got it on the system. So once you get located installed, you want to do sudo update db, and that will update the database for locate. So now we want to locate spectrwm.conf, and we see that is in etc. So let's do sudo cp/etc/spectrwm.conf into home.spectrwm.conf. Since that was owned by root, we need to change the owner to my user, and also want to change the right permissions as well. So let's do sudo change owner to Mike home/.spectrwm.conf. And now we can change the right permissions as well. So chmod 755 home/.spectrwm.conf. Now also, there's default key bindings. In this terminal here, we need to bring that into our configuration file as well. So let's run the locate command again, and let's just look for spectrwm. This is the file we need here. So let's do sudo, let's cat that, /user/share/spectrwm/example/spectrwm us.conf into, so we're going to append it to the end of the file with two chevrons, home/.spectrwm spectrwm.conf. So now we have a complete configuration file for spectrwm. vim.spectrwm.conf. And this will bring up our configuration file that we just catted out everything from our default configs in the root folders into our home folder. And we can edit this file and go ahead and refresh everything, and it will read from this file first. So your first workspace limit is 22. I don't need that many workspaces, so let's say 10. Focus mode default, that works. Previous. Spawn position next is good. Now the window decoration, let's make the border width of that, let's make it 3 pixels. Color focus is red. You can actually change all these to hex values or RGB values, and I will show that off here in just a minute. You can set region padding and tile gaps. Let's set the region padding to, let's say, 10, and let's set the tile gap to 10 as well. Now for the bar is actually just a shell script written to std out, and we have not done anything with the bar just yet, and I will show that off here in just a second as well. So right now all we're going to do is enable the bar. The border width we can leave as 1. The bar border, you can set that to whatever color you want. Bar color, you can change that. Bar font color, bar font. Now the bar action is actually the script that you want for the bar itself to display across the top of the screen. So if we open another window, and let's do locate bar action. You see we have one here in /user share doc spectrwm examples bar action.sh. I actually want that in my .config directory. So let's do sudo cp /user /share /doc /spectrwm /examples /bar action.sh, and we want to copy that to our home /.config /bar action.sh. And now we can go into .config, and we need to make this executable. So what I'm going to do is actually change the owner to me. So sudo change owner to Mike bar action.sh. Now we're going to chmod +x bar action.sh, and so now that that's executable, we can change the address in the config file to our new one, and we can make edits from there. But first we need to go back over here and uncomment this for our bar action, and we need to do the location of the bar. So we're going to do /home /mike .config /bar action.sh, and you can justify it to the left or to the right. You can have the workspace indicator, bar at the bottom. I'm going to leave it at the top. Clock enable, clock format. Your dialog ratio, I always like to leave that, uncomment that rather. The auto run is a neat little thing where you can have things, programs or scripts auto run when you first log in to, say, set your wallpaper, or set Compton to, or set Compton up, or set let's say you wanted a terminal or a file explorer or a web browser or a music player or something to auto to auto-generate on a certain workspace when you log in. And it kind of gives you a template on how to set all that up. And here you can customize the layouts at start. You can name the workspaces. If I uncomment all of these here, that will actually rename my workspaces to IRC, email, browse, and music. So if I change this, I want it to be called terminal. And my second one to be called files. This one to be called www. And music is fine here. But I wanted everything in all caps, that way it's easier to see. Now here you can change your mod key. I want to change the mod key from the Alt key to the Windows key. So I'm going to uncomment it and then change mod 1 to mod 4. Now the keyboard mapping, you want to set that. You want to uncomment keyboard mapping and set it to go to dev null, because you have all of your keyboard mapping and your key bindings in the bottom of the config file. Now here you can set default programs for your lock, your terminal, and what I'm going to do is uncomment program term and set it equal to the terminal that I want, which is URXVT. Now the menu, so I just uncommented all that, and I'm going to uncomment this and change my lock screen to I3 lock. And I'm going to edit that a little bit too, so I can have a background for my lock screen and have it blurry as well. And on down here, you can have this just shows how to unbind a key, or you can unbind a key by deleting the inside of the brackets, or you can just delete the whole line and it will still unbind it. This is the program for screenshotting, and here is a template on how to set up a key binding here. And one thing that's really cool about this is you don't have to name the program anything coherent. So let me just show this. If I were to let's do sudo apt install firefox-esr. Okay, it's already installed. So let's do program, and I'm not going to name it Firefox. I'm going to name it Cracker Jacks and set that equal to Firefox-esr. And then I want to bind what I named it, which is Cracker Jacks, equals mod plus, I don't know, let's do control this time. Control plus W. So we've been editing this in Vim. So to write the changes, we need to hit the escape key and then :W to write the changes. So to refresh spectrwm, you want to do Alt, mod, and Q. And what that did was actually change our mod key from the Alt key to the Windows key and set the keyboard mapping to dev null. It changed all of our settings up through here, and we now have a key binding set up for Firefox ESR. So let's say we wanted to start Firefox. Mod control W. And that fires up Cracker Jacks, actually Firefox ESR. And to close that, mod X. All total, it's pretty easy to config. So what I want to do now is actually get rid of this and bring in my spectrwm.conf file from GitHub and show and just kind of go through it and show what all changes I made to kind of rice out, so to speak, the spectrwm that I have here. So let's just quit out and let's do rm.spectrwm.conf. So now we're going to go into my personal dot files. And you see I have a spectrwm.conf and a bar action. So we're going to cp spectrwm.conf into home slash dot spectrwm.conf. We're going to rm.config slash home slash dot config baraction.sh, and then we're going to copy baraction.sh from my personal dot files into home slash dot config slash baraction.sh. I have, and if you notice, I have something here called Wallock or Wallock. That's just something that I did for changing the wallpapers and the lock screen. And I'm going to set that to, and I'm going to put that into my path and set that up in with a key binding in my spectrwm.conf file. So I can automatically change wallpapers, and it will blur out that wallpaper for my lock screen using i3 lock. So if we cd into /user local bin, you see I already have Wallock there. So if we cat Wallock, all that does, it defines a directory, home /user /pictures /wallpapers. It says wall equals the listing of the directory, everything.png, and pipes that through shuffle, and it grabs one wallpaper from there. And then it cats that wall into home /myuser /pictures /wallock /wall.png, and it sets it as the wallpaper. Then it uses image magic to convert that wall.png into lock.png as a blurred background. And you can see that I have edited this pretty heavily, and I have separated things out. So if we were to use this right here, we can do mod and Q to change it up. So let's take a look down through here and see what all I have changed. So I have set my border width to 3 and my color of the focused window for the window decoration to 8B-E9FD. I actually got that from my X resources file that I pulled in from GitHub for my terminal theme. And let's say I opened another, and let's say I did cat.xdefaults. And I'm using the Dracula X resources color palette. So 8B-E9FD was color 6. But that is a hex value. But all I did was I put RGB:/8B/E9/FD, and it still worked. And you can do that with about any color that you want in this config file. So it can be a hex value, it can be an RGB value, it doesn't matter, it will still take it. So for the bar border is BF/BF/BF, which is color 7. The bar color is 28/2A/36, which is actually the background of my terminal. So it's more of a cohesive look. The bar font I actually set to be the same thing as my terminal font. So I have Ubuntu Mono set, and it says pixel size 14 here, but I changed this to font size 24 for the video. I still have the dialog ratio set to 0.6. And the only thing that I changed here was to auto run fe dash dash bg scale. Let me get rid of that. Home, my user, wallpapers, walllock.png, which is actually the wrong thing. So let's go back in the insert mode, and I'm going to change that to walllock/wall.png. And here you see where we changed the labels and everything for the workspaces. And here you see the program lock is set to i3lock-i home/pictures/wallock/lock.png. Your XVT set to my terminal. I use dmenu with all of the standard stuff set in the top of the config file for dmenu. I have Firefox set to mod control W. I have thunar named potato actually to mod control F. I have GIMP named biscuit to mod control G, and crackerjacks is actually Audacity this time, set to mod control A. The screenshots is actually scrot, where it names it the month, the date, the year, and the time and it moves it from the home folder, the /shots directory. It does the same thing for the window screenshots. Walllock will run your xvt-e, and it will do user local bin /walllock. And I set mod control and B for the hotkey for that. So if we close this terminal and we do mod control B, so mod control B, mod control B, mod control B, mod shift delete. That did not work. Oh, because I did not refresh. Now it works. Okay, I just did not refresh anything. So let's log out and log back in. Mod shift Q to log out. And you see up here we have it named terminal. Okay, I figured that out. When I moved the bar action script from my personal .files directory over to the .config directory, I forgot to make it executable. So in my .config directory, let's go into the baraction.sh file and show you around in here. Baraction.sh, I have changed a good bit in here. I've added a few things, I've taken out a few things, and I actually pulled this from GitHub because the default one did not work with my system. So I pulled in the default baraction.sh file from GitHub and edited that. And it's easy enough to find. Just look for spectrwm on GitHub, and you can find the just click under Linux and then click on the baraction.sh, copy that file into the baraction.sh file on your system, make it executable, and it'll run. So all I did here, I edited how the date is displayed. I added print memory to echo out free RAM right here. Print CPU. I'm not using some of these. Now the packages, I'm doing packages equals apt list installed pipe through wc-l, and then print packages $packages, and it will tell you that I've got 1,039 packages on the system. And here you can do the upgrades as well. So printf upgrades. And this will actually use aptitude. I used aptitude here instead of apt because for some reason apt did not want to display a 0, and aptitude would. So to keep things a little cleaner and a little easier to show and a little easier to understand, I just decided to use aptitude. Now the kernel equals uname-sr, and then it just prints the kernel out up here. The CPU temp, this actually uses sensors. So if you want to get something like this, you need to install lm-sensors up here. So what that does is it uses sensors, then pipes that through awk and uses the caret tctl and just prints the second column. And then CPU temp equals $CPU. Now the IP address, I have it set up here So the IP address is equal to IP equals $hostname dash capital I pipe through awk, and then prints the first column, because it will print out 2 different columns and it will give you a bunch of extra stuff you don't really need. So printf equals LAN : $IP. And if you notice, I have a pipe symbol at the end of them, and I'm just using that as a separator. Now the battery stuff, this is on a virtual machine. It's on a desktop, so I didn't really even mess with the battery stuff. Now, pretty much what you've done here is create a bunch of functions, and at the end of it, you have everything that you want to print out to the bar at the bottom. So we're going to print the memory. We're not going to print out the IO stat data or the CPU speed. We're printing out CPU temp, the packages, the upgrades, the kernel, the IP, the date. And the battery data, I just commented that out. So far, I think it looks pretty good. And to set our wallpaper, mod Control B. And for our lock screen, mod Shift Delete. And we're back. This was a fun little project. I have really enjoyed spectrwm. I may actually move to it full time. I'm not 100% sure. I am pretty deeply ingrained in XFCE, but I have liked this better than i3, and I've liked it better than a couple of the other window managers that I've tried. And this has been a really, really good experience. So if you've never heard of spectrwm and you kind of want to give it a try, by all means. If you want to use my configs, they're over on my GitHub page. I will link to them down in the description. It's super easy to config. It's a really nice experience. So like I said, spectrwm has been a really good experience for me. I may wind up moving to it full time, but like I said, I am pretty deeply ingrained in XFCE, and I have really liked what I've seen so far in spectrwm. I may make another video in the future about using different bars. I'm not 100% sure. If you enjoyed this content and would like to see how I got Debian installed without a desktop environment, I'll leave a link to that down in the description as well, or possibly put up a card. But anyway, thank you for watching. Y'all have a nice evening. Like, share, and subscribe.